Hello, my fellow humans, and welcome back to Scatter Love Tarot. It's your girl coming at you with another pick a card reading. First, I'd love to say thank you to anyone and everyone that continues to be a supportive part of this journey with me. I'm honored to be sharing this time and space with you. If you happen to be new here, welcome. This is a reminder that we're all here sharing this human experience together, and that this is a safe space to show up as your highest, most aligned, loving, authentic selves. We do things completely differently here on this channel, so with that in mind, if the messages do happen to resonate with you, it would mean the world to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. So today was a channeled message of what karmic challenges are you experiencing right now. I do like to add fun and deeper readings onto my channel, and so I was really excited that this came up. I did feel really called to use the Archetypal Astrology Oracle cards by Jonathan Waller. I haven't brought these out a whole lot because they are still a new deck, but yeah, I was excited to bring those forth. So let us go ahead and hop into your prayer and we'll get your reading underway. Okay, my beloved source, this prayer is for anyone and everyone who comes onto this channel, whether it's for a moment's time or for the entire time. Today I ask that you give us clear guidance. Some of us, or many of us across the collective, are dealing with some really upsetting things, really difficult things, and understanding the premise behind these things helps us to accept and move on, or at least know that really sometimes there's nothing that we ourselves can control in the outcome except for how we choose to show up in any one given situation. That's not always easy. Sometimes we want you to just take it away from us and to make life easier. And even though we want that, we know in our heart of hearts that that's not something that will come, because oftentimes the contrast that we're experiencing in this 3D realm is of light and shadow, and it's all for our highest good, even if we cannot embrace that or see that at this moment. That even the hardships we experience are meant to help us align and help us become a stronger, more integrated version of ourselves. It's here to help us embrace the shadow that exists within us as well. Because we've been raised by society to believe that the only things that matter to embrace are the good, or the seemingly successful, or the seemingly stand-outish parts of ourselves, instead of the things that we feel ashamed about, or the things that we've been told to hide behind closed doors. And a lot of this has created fragmented parts of ourselves without us truly knowing that we were fragmenting ourselves in those moments, and with repeated cycles or repeated patterns of continuing to do that. So today I ask that you bring forth that clear understanding and that clear intuitive nudge that will help us truly embrace where we are, so that we can integrate both parts of ourselves and both parts of the journey and of this realm. Because with life comes all things, shadow and light. I ask that you embrace us in your love and help support us as we need, as we continue to walk forward. As these words are spoken upon this tribe and onto this reading, so shall they be. Amen. Aho. Ase. Thank you, thank you, thank you, my beloved source. Thank you. All right, let me go ahead and get this set up over here. All right, I'm going to move this and let us get to shuffling. So source, what astrology archetype cards will help us better understand the karmic challenges that my fellow humans are experiencing right now? What are the karmic challenges that my fellow humans are experiencing right now? What archetypal astrology oracle cards are going to help us better understand what karmic challenges my fellow humans are experiencing right now? Okay, thank you. What karmic challenges are my fellow humans experiencing right now, source? What oracle card is going to help us better understand this? All right. For pile number 1, source, what archetypal oracle astrology card will help us better understand the karmic challenges that pile number 1 is experiencing right now? Thank you. For pile number 2, source, what astrology archetypal oracle card is going to help us better understand the karmic challenges that pile number 2 is experiencing right now? Okay, wow. Thank you. Pile number 3, source, what astrology archetype oracle card is going to help us better understand the challenges, the karmic challenges that pile number 3 is experiencing right now? What are the karmic challenges that pile number 3 is experiencing right now? What card is going to help us understand this? I do feel like there's a little bit of resistance for you, pile number 3, and that's okay. Just remembering that what we go through in life, like we think of karma as a bad thing, but karma oftentimes is just balancing out the scales, right? It's not that we necessarily did something terrible to receive what we're getting. It's just that maybe there's something within us that we were talking about in the prayer that we have not yet integrated. And so there's going to be a mirrored part of that in our lives that's coming through that's seemingly challenging, because in order for us to heal, we have to overcome those internal fears and those blockages that have become so big and that have overtaken our lives. But that doesn't mean that it's easy, right? A lot of times I feel like people believe that, oh, I can face my challenges easy. But if they were easy, more people would be more healed along the journey. And so that's why I do feel like there is a sense of resistance with you, pile 3. So let's see what the collective message is here. We have Venus. Okay, so love is definitely coming up as a karmic challenge right now. Learning to love oneself is the message here. And also I feel like attracting abundance to ourselves. This is the karmic lesson or the karmic challenge. I keep saying lesson. It's the karmic challenge that the collective is going through right now. And it's where everybody is working super hard to achieve something, really wanting that to come in, you know, whether that's self-worth, self-love, self-care, a loving relationship, loyal friends, loyal people in our lives. This could be money. This could be just having a life of luxury or something, a life of luxury compared to how we were living before, right? Freedom is also coming through with this as well. And it's interesting because you see on this card, there's this beautiful multicolored rose. And I keep hearing that song, every rose has its thorns, right? Like, I don't know how it goes, but that's what's coming in. And that's that energy it's like this beautiful thing that you desire, that you really want to see in your life. There are thorns that you have to get through first in order to appreciate the beauty. You know, when a rose blooms, it doesn't bloom and then get thorns. A rose bush grows with thorns, and it's like a thorn bush before it ever turns into a rose bush. I know, because my dear brother feels so terrible for him. As a kid growing up, he would always seemingly find rose bushes and fall into them, not on purpose. He was always riding his bike, or he was on he had a paper delivery route that we both did, and it was under his name. And so, long story short, there was a couple of customers where we had to walk up onto their porches and deliver papers, and there's about 5 houses that had beautiful rose bushes outside, and something would always happen where he would fall in, and it was just so random, right? It was just such a random thing. But so after all that was said and done, my mom's like, you got to deliver these papers to these houses. And I didn't have a problem with the rose bushes, but it's like, even my brother riding bikes in new neighborhoods, some way, shape, or form, he was always going to fall into a rose bush. And now that I understand the premise of manifestation, I realize it's because everybody always said he always falls into rose bushes. Another story on top of this, and there's a reason I'm telling you this, and I understand why Source was pushing me to tell you this now. We used to go out. My great grandfather had a house on the Lake of the Ozarks, and we would go out every couple of years to spend time with him. And my poor cousin, my older sister cousin, she always had to dive in and save my brother. My brother, it's not that he couldn't swim, it's just that when he got panicked in the water, then he would start to sink. And so my brother fell through the dock. She had to jump in and save him. We were on the paddle boats, and somehow he fell off the paddle boats, and she had to jump in and save him. He fell off the pontoon boat, and she had to jump in and save him. And this kept happening over the course of like 5 days. I think my brother fell into the lake probably 6 times. It was absolutely wild, but everybody kept saying how accident prone he was and how he always fell in the lake, and then he would always freak out. And so it kept happening. And every time after we went, the same thing would happen at the Lake of the Ozarks. And so I feel like this is that challenge that you're going through right now, is that you're always saying, always. This always happens. I never get love. I'm always going to be alone. I'm always going to be the person that has to, let me close the window here. Not that it necessarily makes a huge difference with the train because it's so loud. But I feel like that's what's coming through. And so one of the challenges here when it comes to, attracting abundance, attracting money, attracting financial success, right? And financial freedom even, and just attracting wealth of self-worth. What's coming in is letting go of that belief, right? That would be the karma, is that belief. That's why it continues to persist in your life. And so you're learning how to let that go. It could be the same as like always attracting in narcissistic relationships or childish relationships, or people who are, not faithful, whatever the situation is, or wanting a better job, right? Well, I always get the bottom of the totem and pull job. Like, what are you saying to yourself here? And that's what keeps manifesting. So it's all about reframing the way that you're coming at this. So it's like, if you're trying to manifest I just want to use this as a quick example because it's coming through. I keep feeling it. If you're trying to manifest a labeled relationship, okay, and whatever label you have, it's fine. I'm not here to invalidate your label. That's for you to validate and for you to agree with on your own. But as you know, I'm moving away from the idea of labeled relationships. So if you're trying to manifest a labeled relationship here, and you're saying, I always have to heal first in order for this relationship to be, then you're always going to have to heal. Like, there's never going to be a time when there's a break from healing in order for Source to say, okay, I'm going to give this to you now. And that's that manifestation part that's coming into play. And that's what this feels like here. So this is all about coming back to that place of knowing your worth right now, knowing your value right now. I am worthy of love. I am worthy of success. I am worthy of abundance, of wealth, of money, of freedom, of whatever. Enter in said challenge that you're having or wanting to change. Enter in what you want. I am worthy of. And it can be multiple sentences. It doesn't have to just be one. But let's see what it says from the book here. So and I love that because this book actually has challenges here. So we're just going to read the challenges part. It says the shadow of Venus, as is the case with all archetypes, emerges when it is overemphasized or when its energy lacks a proper target. Without other influences, the Venus impulse might appear shallow and conceited, and you may express it as vanity or obsession with beauty. If you aren't grounded in meaningful inner work and spiritual practice, Venus can play into damaging habits and thought patterns that you have accumulated while growing up in the misogynistic, consumerist cultural landscape of Western capitalism. The challenge here is to deepen your own personal relationship to Venus, to seek out beauty and luxury in it, and deliberately Wow, let me try that again. To seek out beauty and to luxuriate in it slowly and deliberately, rather than passively consuming the commodified facsimile of beauty that are so easily accessible. To connect with the desires of your heart as a matter of spiritual practice, rather than being unintentionally swayed this way or that by the whims of compulsion and addiction. Heed Venus's invitation to deepen your relationship to beauty, to learn to take pleasure in what truly nourishes you, to create a life for yourself where sensual pleasure is not at odds with your other needs and desires, but working in tandem with them. You may find it hard to summon the will to work on days when Venus is significantly activated. Finding elaborate ways to avoid tiresome or repetitive tasks and rewarding yourself rather lavishly for anything you do manage to accomplish. If it can be avoided, try not to rely upon your productivity on days such as this. It's better to simply enjoy the time if possible. If you find yourself feeling lazy or disinterested in your work, at least try to avoid unconsciously overcompensating with indulgences in ways that you will later regret. It is better to appease your desires with intention and conscious enjoyment than to suppress or ignore them only to be greedily overcome by them in due course. The invitation here is honoring Venus should be a pleasurable experience. So whatever you do to contact and integrate this archetype, make sure it's coming from a genuine desire on your part. Celebrating your Venus returns can be an excellent ritual. Put the date in your diary, book it off of work, and plan to do nothing that has any purpose other than pleasure. Even if a luxury spa day or a Michelin star restaurant is not in the budget, simply find ways to treat yourself and make time for pure relaxation and pleasure. Life does not need to be elaborate or expensive in order to be enjoyed. So reconnecting with Venus is definitely one of the karmic challenges right now of the collective. And that makes sense, especially with this consumerist mindset that we've got going on. Right? So stepping away from that and coming back to a more aligned sense of self. And I was not planning for the collective message to go for quite so long, but there was so much that was coming through. All right, so let us dabble into this. We're going to dive in and see what's coming through. So for pile number 1, I have this dice with the 12th house for you to choose from. Or this blue agate obelisk. On pile number 2, we have this dice with the 10th house on it. We have this green aventurine for you to choose from. Okay, and for pile number 3, we have this dice with the 7th house on it. We have this chakra charm for you to choose from. So pile 1, pile 2, and pile 3, and whichever pile you feel drawn to, that should be the pile for you. And I will see you over there. Hello, my fellow human. If you were drawn to this dice with the 12th house on it, or if you're drawn to this blue agate obelisk, Or if you're drawn to this card during the shuffle, then this is going to be a reading on what karmic challenges are you experiencing right now. First, I'd like to say thank you to anyone and everyone that continues to be a supportive part of the journey with me. I'm truly honored to be sharing this time and this space with you. And for those of you new here, welcome. This is a reminder that we're all here sharing this human experience together, and that this is a safe space to show up as your highest, most aligned, loving, authentic self. We do things completely differently here, so with that in mind, if the messages happen to resonate with you, it'd mean the world to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. So let's go ahead and hop to it and find out if we can get some more information today, source. What are the karmic challenges that pile number 1 is experiencing right now? What would you like to share with us? What are the karmic challenges that pile number 1 is experiencing right now? Okay, so we have the 5th house. We've got Sagittarius energy and Venus. So if you did not catch the collective reading at the beginning, you might want to take some time to go and watch that, because I do feel like this is kind of piggybacking off of that a bit, considering we got Venus and the 5th house coming through. But if not, that's okay. You're not required to watch it. It's not an obligation, but if you feel called to, it will be timestamped down below in the description box where you found the timestamp for this. All right, so what karmic challenges are you going through right now? This could be someone that you're currently dating, or these are people that you've dated in the past. They felt like an adventure. They felt like, oh, this is the one. This is the person I'm going to spend my life with. This is the person that I want in my life. I feel like with this being the challenge, then it was like the honeymoon phase was excellent. It was a lot of excitement, a lot of passion, a lot of thrills, and then things went cold, or things got really bleak and things got really dark. And I feel like there's somebody here that maybe has recently asked for you to go out with them or wants to get involved with you, and all of that past situations are coming to light right now. It's like, well, that's nice and dandy, or I'd just rather stay alone. I'd rather be by myself. And what source is showing here, especially with the 5th house coming out, is that all those past relationships are a mirror of something that you learned in childhood. This is something that you learned from the way your parents treated you, the way that caretakers treated you, the way that teachers treated you. It could be anybody, but someone that you definitely looked up to or felt like this is somebody who's supposed to take care of me and was not. I do feel like there's a lot of roller coaster rides in many of your relationships. So feeling like love has to be these ups and downs, ups and downs, ups and downs, jealousy, greed, envy of one another, like feeling like, oh, if we're not jealous of one another, we don't love one another. And then something along the way has shown you that that's not real love, that's codependency. And I feel like that's one of the challenges that you've been going through right now, is trying to figure out what it means for you to find real love. And so if there's somebody here, if there's people here that are asking you out or wanting to get to know you better, and this fear of, if I let them in, what is it going to be? Am I going to go through these codependent streaks again? Am I going to go through these ups and downs, these really high highs, these really low lows, these things that just completely uproot my peace? And I feel like this is something that's helping you understand and grasp onto self-worth and your self-value. And it could be, you could be saying, you know what, I know my worth and I know my value, but truly learning our worth and our value is a lifelong journey, just like falling in love with ourselves, because we'll always gather a deeper understanding of it the more that we show up for ourselves. It's not something that one day we wake up and we realize I'm the most valuable thing there is. It's not about that, because there's always going to be doubt. There's always going to be other triggers that arise. There's always going to be something else that comes up, or a person that comes into our life that will make us question that about ourselves. It's not about any of those actions. It's about what we do when those circumstances come up. And that's what continues to implement that self-worth along our journey. It's like when you first start to see your worth, that's going to be vastly different than, as you continue to stand up for and be there for yourself 10 years later, how you see your worth in 10 years. And the person that started, if they had an opportunity to talk to the person 10 years later, or vice versa, you would recognize that there's a huge difference. There's a huge gap. There's a huge maturity level that has come from all of that experience through life. And so what they're saying here is, like, it's okay for you to have fun and to go out on dates and to see people and to connect with people. This could just be connecting with people, but fifth house does point towards dates, right? Like, it does point towards dating and our inner child and the things that, like, the hobbies that we do. This could be a hobby or an expression that you are feeling like, oh, I can't express myself because, people made fun of me and they think that I'm just crazy in the way that I express myself, or no one's going to accept it, no one's going to like it. So it's coming down to, what are you telling yourself when whatever this is regarding, whenever this is pointing toward, what are you telling yourself when it comes to these things? We want to help you find justice, but this is something that also you have to put forth your best foot for as well. And it's sounding like, oh, well, so I'm the only one that has to do any work. Source isn't going to show up. It's not about that. It's not about that. But Source cannot and will not ever come in and alter our thoughts for us, right? That's taking away our free will. And we have to remember that, like, this journey is all about free will. I'm going to move the camera a bit here. So honoring our free will and recognizing, like, if we don't take those steps for ourselves, no one else is going to. Not our angels, not our guides, not Source. Like, we have to consciously make a choice for ourselves. But let's see if we can get a little bit deeper into this. So Source, yeah, they're showing me it's love. There's been a lot of unfair situations when it's come to love. A lot of manifesting of broken hearts, or things that you thought were going to go the distance that didn't. Things that fell apart rather quickly, or things that fell apart and took you by surprise, right? All right, Source, what karmic challenges is pile number 1 experiencing right now? What would you like to share with us for pile number 1? Yeah, not wanting to face reality with the Page of Swords in the reverse. It's like, it's easier just to look the other way, right? It's easier to brush it under the rug. It's easier to just, like, whatever, it'll come when it comes. But if you don't face it right now as it's coming up, then the cycle is going to continue to repeat, right? We have to face those cycles. Otherwise, they'll always be a part of our life, rather than us gaining the wisdom and the experience from them. What are the karmic challenges that pile number 1 is experiencing right now? Yep. Romantic frustration, broken heart, feeling like things have been left unsaid, or feeling ghosted here. This could have been someone ghosting you. It just feels like you really believed this was the one, or you really believed that the situation had a lot of potential, but somewhere along the way something happened and it fell apart. And it's like holding on to here. There's a lot of grudges here. There's a lot of anger, and with right. Okay, like, I'm not saying, oh, you shouldn't have this anger, you shouldn't feel this way. No, not at all. Look, broken hearts, that's a grief that many, many people have to go through in this life. And it's not an easy grief to go through. It's something, because it's like, I just needed closure. And when you don't get the closure that you're looking for, then there's always the what if. And the what if can take us down a rabbit hole that will leave us a lifetime without healing. But there's like this eerie energy that's coming through where it's like you've lost touch with other people. I can't go and talk to other people. I've been betrayed too much by other people. And this is the karmic, this is the lesson. This is the challenge. This is the cycle. Okay, when we talk about karma, it's not because you did something. Okay, and I explained this in the opening, and I feel like that's something that we need to look at. We need to see karma as something else. It's not like, oh, because we've always looked at it as, oh, instant karma. Oh, someone got their karma for acting that way. It's not about that. Karma is based on a lot of different things, but it's not about us doing something terrible in this life or the past life and having to pay retribution. Rather, it's just we've occurred a lot of karma because of our trauma and because of our past lives, whether that's the past life of our childhood up till now or past lives from past lives before up to this lifetime. But we see that with this energy here, I mean, you have 2 pages coming in. We see this as a childhood wound. We see this as a necessary place for you to step into reconnecting with your inner child so that you can heal the heart of your inner child and allow that to become the foundation upon which you start to build your self-worth. Because right now there's this struggle that's coming in where it's like, if it's too far in the past, or it's like, if I just brush it under the table, if I just don't focus on that part of my life, then I don't have to face it. I don't have to deal with it. It's too heart-wrenching. It's too heartbreaking. People left me on red, or people said nothing, or I just was always left wondering, or people ghosted me, or whatever the situation was, or people showed up only to leave me hanging later. Well, with this Page of Cups here, we see that your feelings are overwhelming you right now. It's creating a lot of dissonance in your vibrational energy, and that might be why there's a lot of people who keep coming in who are not a vibrational match for you, because right now you're still in a state of carrying this on your sleeve, whether or not you're aware of it. Okay? It's something that's very prevalent in your life right now. And that's hard. It's hard because it's like we felt like we've healed so much. We felt like we've overcome so much, only to be told or to have us seen go through these repeat cycles. Like, I thought I was done with this. It's like peeling back the layers of an onion. There's always going to be something else there, but it doesn't mean that that's what life is always going to be about, is continually peeling back the layers. It's just because eventually you're going to get to a point where you absorb the lesson, whatever that is. And right now, the lesson we see here is about your self-worth and being okay with you as you are in this moment. Not you as you are when you're totally healed. Not you as you are when you lose 50 pounds. Not you as you are when you get your nose job or when you get, your plastic surgery done. Not you as you are when you get your hair done or your nails done, or you finally fit into that suit, or you finally get the nice suit that you were looking for with the suit and the tie. None of that matters. That's all aesthetics, and none of those aesthetics are going to make you find value. It's nice to put paint on a house, but if you put paint on a house that's falling apart inside, that paint job might sell the house, but as soon as they walk in, what are you going to tell people? That's what's happening right now. There's a lot that's going on externally that you might be working on really, really hard, but there's something internally that you keep like, no, I'm just going to shove that down a little. I'm just not ready to deal with that. I'm just not doing that. And that's what Source is saying. This is something that you are ready to face. Okay, there's a lot of confusion that's coming up with this, and then negative thoughts that are tied to this very karmic challenge that you're going through right now. We were talking about that. How are you talking to yourself? What are you thinking about when these things come up? Are you thinking encouraging thoughts, supportive thoughts? Do you know what that means? Do you know what it means to be encouraging and supportive of yourself? Have you ever experienced that from another person? Sometimes we can be encouraging and supportive of everyone out there because that's what we think is right. But for us to be encouraging and supportive of ourselves is a vastly different story, because we've never had someone do that for us. Not thinking, the switch is just do the same things that we're doing for everyone for ourselves. Right? Like that's the switch, but sometimes it's not that easy. Because it's like, you know what, you can do this, and then you hear, no, you can't. You've never been able to do that, or you hear some sort of criticism from the past. We see these words are coming in, and this sense of losing touch with oneself. Right? This is self-defeat that's coming in. This is the karmic challenge. So you could be saying, no, it's because no one wants to date me. It's because no one wants to see me. It's because no one wants to love me, or whatever the case may be. It's easy to put it on everyone else out there. But right now, there's a limiting belief that's being shown to you here that you have outgrown. I love that Source is saying this here. It's something that you've greatly outgrown. You've outgrown this. This is something that you've learned time and time again, but there's something here that's still coming up. And it could just be putting down the burden. Maybe you've carried it for so long, like putting it down just feels scary. Who am I when I put this burden down? Like when I no longer feel this way about myself, who am I? Well, that's part of the unknown, and that's part of the excitement that you get to find out. And I feel like with Sagittarius energy here in the dice, that's exactly what Source is saying. Like, look at it as an adventure. Who am I? Who do I get to be? Who do I get to become? Like, who is this person that's emerging? Rather than saying, who am I without this burden? Say, cool, I put down this burden. Now let's find out who I get to be. But sometimes the burden has become such a... It's like autopilot, right? It's just something that's always been there. And it's scary to put it down because we don't see that we're identifying with it so much. We don't see that, oh, like we're holding on to that because it's become a part of who we are, right? Our emotional ego is saying like, no, this is who you are. You can't let this go. And all of those things that happen to us along the way are things that happen to us. They're just experiences that we went through. It's not who we are. Does it shape us? Yeah, it does. It shapes us because it changes our perception and it affects our perception of life. And, you know, it's like our perspective changes throughout this journey. That's okay. That's what life is meant to do. It's meant to alter parts of ourselves in that way. But what we do, because we like to hold on to things, is we believe that that's who we are. So if you've had trauma, or if you've had abuse, or if you've had something that was so awful that you went through as a child, it's saying, well, my inner child is saying that's who I am. Because your child didn't know any better. And so if someone was physically abusive to you as a child, your child self is saying, obviously this is who I am. I don't deserve better because if I did, then this person would be giving me better. As a child, we can't comprehend that the fact that this person is abusing us because they're the ones with the problem. Everything gets internalized as a child, and that's why this is so deeply ingrained in you. And so putting it down has been the challenge here. This has been the issue, and that's why it's a repeat cycle in your life. But Source is saying you're ready to let go. You have to make the decision, though. And Source is going to help you through it, but you have to make the decision, right? Again, as I stated earlier, and I don't know if this was on your pile or if this was on the collective reading, what I said is like, Source will never take away our free will. Like, that was a part of the promise being here, is that we were given free will. Sure, there are things that are going to happen to us to kind of like ping pong us back to a journey that was meant for us, right? But Source is never going to interfere with our free will. Like, that is a promise. Our angels, our guides, are never going to interfere with our free will. And we've taken it to say like, oh no, they're the ones that take care of everything for us. No, they give us guidance, but ultimately we're the ones that make the choice. Yeah, this is very emotional for you. This is very deeply centered in the heart as well, and the sacral chakra. Like, feeling into this is very challenging, and it's murky. Like, this is a very murky picture, right? We have Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. It's spirituality, emotion, intuition, and compassion. And like, I feel like intuitively, you know. Intuitively, you've been guided to let this go. Intuitively, you've been brought down a different journey. But there's something about you that's just holding on here. Life is a mystery, right? Tapping into the mystery that is the unknown. And then with Brown Bear Spirit here, take time out. This is the heart healing. That's what I was saying. I love this confirmation. Look, we have 8 and 9. They flew out together. 8 and 9. Life is a mystery. Stepping into that unknown, that's that confirmation that I was saying. It's like being brave enough to step into that and to look at it as that adventure. This is about you healing that part of your heart and saying to yourself, your inner child, you deserve all good things. On the bottom, Porcupine Spirit, time for a beginner mindset, to try again, start again, right? There's no guarantee that it's going to work out perfectly or it's going to be a straight line. It's just to try again. I keep hearing that. If at first you don't succeed, try again. Why do I hear that song from the Rescuers Down Under, or it's the Rescuers, I think. RESCUE, Rescue Aid Society. Heads held high, touch the sky. You mean everything to me. What was it? And Bernard, the mouse, was he was like the janitor, and Bianca's the one that asked him to go with him. And I think it's so funny because they were trying to get that letter out of the bottle, and he was so superstitious because the comb that he used as a letter had 13 steps on it. And Bianca told him, he's like, it has 13. I can't use this ladder. And she's like, just hop over the last step. Right? And so I feel like with that song coming in, Rescue Aid Society, it's like your guides are just telling you, just hop over the last step. But you're so focused on the 13th step. You're so focused on the hurt and the pain that you went through. You're so focused on the fact that no one's showing up for you the way that you want them to or the way that you need them to. It's like, instead of putting that down, instead of focusing on something more positive, like you're showing up for you, and that's what matters, right? That beginner mindset. It's just like, she was kind of like giving him that guidance. It's like an adult to a child, right? Just step over the last step. And he was like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. And he was fine after that. And he was able to help them get the message out of the bottle, right? Like, that's great. What a great image. So, I haven't seen that movie in years, since I was a kid. Alright, what else, source? Yeah, Soul Family. I love this. This is such a great card to come out with Hawthorne here. You have Soul Family. They're out there. They're looking for you the same that you're looking for them. But how can you ever bring in a soul family if you're still in this lower vibration of feeling and believing that you don't deserve them? So the karmic challenge here is literally facing that part of yourself that's saying, I don't deserve this. And saying, no, that's not true. I do deserve this. I deserve good things. I deserve love in my life. I deserve happiness in my life. On the bottom, look, guide. Yeah, your guides are coming in so strongly right now. Look at that. I love that confirmation. It says, represents the nature of the divine in life and in yourself. But the shadow is places financial gain and control over imparting spiritual insight. So again, it's like coming back to the wisdom that you've gained from the situation, the wisdom that you've gained from the circumstances that you've had to go through. Right? Of course they're difficult. Of course it's like the suffering that's hanging out on your heart. It's a suffering that's hanging out on your soul. It's like that suffering, we've talked about this. There's been many people who mentioned this, suffering is optional, right? Pain is inevitable. We're all going to experience pain in life. That's inevitable because we live in this contrast realm. But suffering in and of itself is optional. But it feels like suffering is something that you've taken up as a cloak and put it on, and you're wearing it every day. And so what Source is saying is to let that go. But I can't take it from you, but I can guide you to help you to letting it go. Look at this. We've got grief. Yeah, exactly. This is that feeling. What did I say at the beginning of your reading? Heartache is another thing that we have to go through. Grief. It's something that we're grieving. Like, even if it's not the loss of someone from this realm, it's still a loss of a part of ourselves. And there's a deep grief that comes with that. I understand that losing something is an opportunity to appreciate it. Right? To appreciate what you've learned. And we have the sacral chakra coming through here with this card. But it's like to appreciate what you've learned, to appreciate the experiences that you had, to appreciate the fun, to even appreciate the hard times. Because it's like, what is that Akon song? God, thank you for sunshine. Thank you for rain. Thank you for joy. Thank you for pain. It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day, right? Like, he's saying, it's like, I have to say thank you for everything that I've gone through because it's all for purpose. But if we're saying this is something that's happening to me, instead of reframing that and saying this is something that's happening for me, then we are always going to sit in a state of suffering. And so there's a broken heart that's happening right now, and there's deep grief. And that identity is saying this happened to me. That's also separating ourselves from others, saying that no one understands our experience without us realizing that. But other people do understand our experience. the indecision. I use my intuition in all aspects of life. This is something that's coming through with that. It's like your guides are telling you what the best action is for you. But it's almost like you're having an internal war right now between your spirit and your well, let me say this, between your consciousness and your emotional ego. That's what it is, because your spirit's just trying to gently guide you. But this is a war between your consciousness and your emotional ego, because your emotional ego is saying like, no, 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 we can't do that. We can't do that. We can't do that. It's just easier not to do anything. And your consciousness is realizing that this is not something that's worth holding on to. And so you're trying to do your best to follow that. But we've got intuition coming out multiple times. So you're getting intuitive nudges from this. And your guides have made themselves very clear in your reading that they're here trying to give you that guidance that you need. Let's get an angel number for you. Whoa. Okay. We have 101, new beginnings. New beginnings, personal development, prioritizing creativity. A new phase in a religious or spiritual quest. You're going through a spiritual awakening, which can feel like a dark night of the soul. You're on the path to enlightenment, and this too shall pass. Exactly. This is a very difficult time for you, and that's understandable, right? I'm not invalidating that at all. This is a difficult situation to go through for anybody. And it's like, if you don't validate the fact that this is hard, but I'm also going to get through the storm, right? It's not going to last for forever. This is something, storms always pass. Sometimes they hang around for longer than others, but they're going to pass. And we have 4444 on the bottom, benefits. Culmination, results, benefits, rejection, and completion. Take stock of your accomplishments and how you arrived at them. This is a reminder to maintain optimism and drive towards your goals, right? Coming at this with that positive mindset. Maintain your momentum and know that the powers of heaven have your back. You made it, and the reward goes to you, pile one. So keep going. It is hard to stay hopeful when things seem hopeless. But hope, even when meager, is a grand thing. Pluto, there's a huge transformation that's happening right now. This situation has transformed you. It was incredibly heartbreaking. It was incredibly heavy, but it's transformed you. Mercury, now's the time for you to start networking, to communicate with people, to get out there, put yourself out there again. Think, learn, network, and communicate, right? Connecting with people. I feel like it's important for your journey. Also, like, you might have been in a self-induced isolation thinking that this was hermit mode, and they're saying that it's time for you to just kind of put yourself out there again. It doesn't have to be for dating, just connecting with people, sharing yourself with people. Yeah, coming back to this space of joy. Thank you for joy. Thank you for pain. It's a beautiful day. It's an Akon song. In fact, I posted it not that long ago on the community page. Right? But coming back to this place of joy. Grief only lasts for so long, and grief comes in waves, and it goes in waves. Like, it's something that will always come and go. But every time it's less so. When you sit with it, you feel into it. But the more you try to push it away, the more it's going to persist in your life. Look at this. Child wounded. I can't make this up. This is such a confirmation. It says, awakens compassion and desire to serve other wounded children. Opens the learning path of forgiveness. The shadows blames all dysfunctional relationships on childhood wounds. Resists moving on through forgiveness. Okay, so this is just saying like, well, that's just the way it is. That's that shadow attribute coming in. It's just putting, well, that's the way it is, or this will never change. You're putting it into a box. You're saying that it can never grow beyond what it has been, and that's the illusion. That's believing the illusion. All right, so we're going to take a look at your card. I'm only going to read the challenge of this card out of the book because I feel like that's helping us to focus on where we can focus our energy at. So we're going to find out what it is. We have Mercury, Pluto. Mercury, whoa. Whoa! What was that? Are you serious, Source? What? We have Mercury and Pluto that came out. I can't. Already. Pile one coming in like that. That's how you coming in. That's how you coming in. Mercury, Pluto, the challenges. Okay, look at this raven here, right? Messages, again, messages from the spiritual realm. This is your guides. This is source. They're intuitively trying to help you with this. But I do feel like the pain sometimes, the suffering is so great that sometimes it's hard for us to hear our messages. And that's true across the board, right? For anybody. It says it's not always easy to understand the messages that come bubbling up out of the unconscious. It is part of Pluto's nature to destabilize the status quo and expose its vulnerabilities. With Mercury Pluto, it says patterns of thoughts. Oh, hold on. I got my shirt stuck on my bracelet. Okay. That was interesting. Patterns of thought, systems of belief, flexibility. It's good to stay flexible. Okay. Systems of belief and ways of understanding your own mind may be called into question. Generally speaking, it is better to approach any feelings of anxiety and doubt that surface under the influence of this pair as clues that are pointing you towards the unraveling of a much larger mystery, rather than direct instructions to be carried out. The psyche speaks symbolic language whose meanings unfold over time. Interpreting the symbols of the unconscious in a literalistic manner of the everyday world is not adequate or advisable. Just as you wouldn't ask a shaman for advice about which car to buy, don't expect the psyche to just tell you what to do. Leave a little room for mystery. Wow. In attempting to navigate the murky water, and didn't I say that card looked murky? What is happening right now? Oh my goodness. Oh, I love this. Thank you, Source. Thank you. I'm so excited. Okay, in attempting to navigate the murky waters of the psyche, it is also important that you don't become identified with the Pluto archetype. If you notice that you're becoming obsessively single-minded, or if you find yourself constantly attempting to convince people to see things from your perspective without being open to hearing their point of view, this is a sign you're getting carried away. You can always ask for reflection from someone you trust to help get you grounded. The danger with Pluto is always that you can become so sure of yourself and your direction or purpose that you deprioritize different facets of life, which turn out later to be very important. To navigate these energies well, you need a degree of mental flexibility to keep you from becoming too rigidly attached to your own ideas. Humility to keep you from overestimating your own importance and power. And people whom you trust and respect enough to tell you when you are going too far and too fast. So the invitation here is Mercury Pluto represents good times to work towards integrating what Jung called your shadow. From an astrological perspective, the best way to think about shadow integration is a process of consuming plutonic energies from the psyche by encountering them experientially. If you can find or create spaces where it is safe to allow yourself to feel these energies fully, you'll be able to digest, metabolize, and thus transform them into functional parts of your being. Contrary to some popular articulations of this quest, the aim is not to integrate anger, aggression, or violence such that you develop a healthy capacity for them, as though that will somehow make you more of an adult. Shadow integration is not about glorification of the darker potentials of human nature. Rather, it is about finding these problematic traits where they already exist within you, looking them dead in the eye, and calling upon the psyche's own intrinsic healing intelligence to show you how you might perform the necessary alchemical miracle. The psyche can provide you with all the clues you need to work out how to transform those psychological impulses that are destructive towards life into traits and capacities that can enhance and uplift it, motivate and drive fearlessness and sense of purpose, and a reverent connection with the beyond and the beneath. Wow. What a synchronistic message overall. This is about really facing those parts of yourself that it's just, we said it plenty of times, is something you'd rather sweep under the rug, and that's okay. That doesn't make you a bad person for wanting to sweep it under the rug. That doesn't make, there's nothing wrong with you. You're not terrible. You're not shying away from your healing. It's just coming into awareness of that sometimes is the key for us to actually turn and face those parts of ourselves, okay? So this is what I see here for you, pile number one. This was incredible. I'm so glad I got this channel message. If you felt like this was your reading, leave the little raven emoji down below and say, I trust the mystery of life and I tune into myself, asking for the guidance so that I can take the action to head towards a more aligned version of myself. And if it resonated with you, it means so much to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. And if you are interested in supporting the channel further, please check out the description box. It'll have everything you need. With that being said, I would like to take this time to thank your guides, your spirit messengers, your angel source, and my spirit guides for coming together to give us this incredibly powerful message, pile one. And until next time, stay human. Bye. Hello, my fellow human. If you were drawn to this dice with the 10th house on it, if you were drawn to this green aventurine, or if you were drawn to this card during the shuffle, then this is going to be a reading on what karmic challenges are you experiencing right now. First, I'd like to say thank you to anyone and everyone that continues to be a supportive part of this journey with me. I'm truly honored to be sharing this time and this space with you. And if you happen to be new here, welcome. This is that reminder that we're all here sharing this human experience together, and that this is a safe space to show up as your highest, most aligned, loving, authentic self. And we do things completely differently here on this channel. So with that in mind, if the messages do happen to resonate with you, it would mean the world to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. So with that, let's go ahead and hop to it and find out, source, what karmic challenges are pile number two experiencing right now? What karmic challenges is pile number two experiencing right now? Would you like to share with us today, source? All right, so we've got 4th house, we've got Aries, and we've got Mercury. Failed communication across the family is what I'm hearing right now. There is someone here who wants to be in control. Feels like someone is trying to be very domineering. Someone is being very aggressive, very abrasive as well. This is someone who wants to be seen as the leader, but when actually taking charge or being the leader comes into play, this person is nowhere to be found. What is it? It's all about that do as I say, not as I do type energy. Now, this could be the energy that you're in. And again, on this channel, we just ask that you take accountability for where you're at. Sometimes it's hard for us to hear these things about ourselves. But what I'm feeling, pile two, is that this is someone in your life that is family. This could be a spouse. This could be a parent. This could be a child. This could be a caregiver. This could be, you know, an auntie, an uncle, a brother, a sister. It does feel like this is family, though this is close to home. This is in the roots of your home. It could be an Aries, a Cancer, or Gemini that you're dealing with, or someone that has Aries Sun, Cancer Rising, Gemini Moon, Gemini Sun, Aries Moon, Cancer Rising. I keep hearing Cancer Rising is the rising here. It could be Cancer Moon too, but I really feel this energy of Cancer Rising, or that could be yours. Okay, and that's just that extra confirmation for you. And if it's not, that's okay. There's a lot of gossip that's happening. Someone here is talking about you behind your back. They're creating stories. They want to be seen as the hero here. This is like the savior complex. This is someone coming in and wanting to save someone, but not actually wanting to show up and do the work it takes to save a person. They just want to be seen as the savior. I just want to be seen as the good guy. I just want to be seen as the person that everybody likes. And I don't want anybody to like pile two, because if they don't like pile two, then that means that I'm winning. I do feel like you're aware of this, though. You are very aware of what's going on, even if you don't know what's being said about you. And I don't feel like what's being said about you is what matters so much. It's just source is really highlighting this is the situation. This is the challenge that you're experiencing right now. There's someone here who is very childlike. There's someone here that is very very much in this energy of codependency, and there's something about maybe you've done a lot of healing and you've let go of being a certain way, and that hurt this person's pride and it hurt their ego. And so as retaliation, they came back and they're like, well, if you're going to act like that pile number 2, then I'm going to go over here and do this. And thinking that that's going to somehow create a situation where they're going to be able to control you or control the outcome of this situation. It's almost like if I can pit everybody against pile number 2, then I will win pile number 2, and they'll have to do what I say. They'll have to be in that energy. They'll have to bow to me. I feel like you've learned so much from this situation in general, and you've learned how to surrender. There's an essence, an element here of surrender. You know what? Do you, boo? Do you? I can't control you. I can't control what you say about me. I can't control what others believe about me. If others want to only believe what you have to say and not see that there's two sides to one coin, then that just tells me that these are people who are not meant to be in my life, right? If they're saying that, oh, this person, everything that they're saying bad about you is the only thing that exists about you, right? There's a lot of people that are like that. They hear one side of the story and they only believe that one side of the story. It's people who are emotionally mature and grounded in themselves that recognize that this is only one part of the story. And how do we know that this is actually the whole of the story, right? And those are people that are very grounded and emotionally mature, and that's that feeling that's coming in. It's like, and so I feel like this person is really starting to tell these very elaborate stories, but when you're with them at home, I do feel like they do lash out at you. I feel like they're very aggressive, or they say very unkind things, or they treat you in a very unkind way. And yet, pile number 2, you still always show up with poise. And that takes true strength. And you might be wondering, like, why is this something that I'm experiencing right now? This could be literally closing out a cycle that's been with you for a long time, which of course all our cycles have been with us for a long time, but this feels like a core wound is what this feels like. This feels like you letting go of something that's a core wound. And in letting that go, you know, that's a hard thing. It's something that we've built our lives around, our core wounds. And so that's our identity. That's who we are. That's who we become, are our core wounds. And so your emotional ego may be trying to hold on tooth and nail, but I feel like there's, again, that essence of surrender here, and it's just that this person no longer gets to benefit from you being in that lower vibration anymore. You've literally just stepped back. It's kind of like, I keep seeing like when someone backs up to a cliff and they just jump off and everyone's like, ah, that's a cliff, but then they have one of those flying squirrel suits or whatever they're called, the gliders or whatever it is, and so you're not even worried about it because you know that you're safe. That's what this feels like. It's like everybody's watching you back up to the cliff and they're thinking in their heads like, oh, they only have like one more step before they have to actually stop. But you never stop. You just keep going and you just trust the fall. It's literally taking the risk. Can you tell us some more, Source? What karmic challenges are pile number 2 experiencing right now? And I do feel like this is the end of it. It does feel like this is something that's closing out. So this is shifting in your life right now. This is shifting in your existence. This is not something that's going to be present all the time with you anymore. This is something that really, but it could be one of those things that it's a big thing that has to shift, right? It's not just one part of the story that has to shift. It's not just receiving one thing. This literally could be maybe you needing to move away, or maybe you, okay. So it could be you moving away. It could be just you taking steps for yourself. It could be this person has to take steps for themselves. It's like there's a lot of moving parts here, and that's why it's not shifting as fast as maybe you might like, but it is shifting. With the Popess coming out, I do feel like you've intuitively known this. This is a dualistic situation in your life with the 2 coming in. We're talking about contrast. For you as light, this person is in their shadow. That's what's happening here. It's like it's an almost identical mirror, a reflection of one another. And at one point, you were the reflection of the shadow within this person. And now you're the reflection of the light that this person is struggling to embrace. And that's scary. That's a complete 180 on what it is, because when you were reflecting their shadow, they felt like they were in control. Look, in the Fool, I was gonna say the Fool card when I was saying like when you go and jump off the cliff, but the Tarot Marseille Fool, it doesn't look like he's jumping off a cliff. He's just getting urged on by his spirit guide, the cat or the dog, whatever you see in this picture, just getting urged on by his spirit guide, like, let's go this way. But in the Rider-Waite-Smith, he's literally stepping off of a cliff. And I was going to say that, but because I read the Tarot Marseille, that's why I didn't. And so that's why the squirrel suit came through. And yeah, so we've got this essence that's coming in here where you're learning to find stability in understanding the contrast in life. It's no longer a personal situation. Like with this person, it might seem personal that they're spreading gossip about you. It might seem personal that they're talking bad about you. It might seem personal. But I feel like for you, pile 2, and your pile 2, oh my gosh, okay. I feel like this is that understanding that this person is just basically digging their own grave, for a lack of better example here. Really, truly, right? It's like when you open your mouth and insert your foot. Well, this person's just kind of like gone beyond that. And people are going to start seeing the truth. They're going to start questioning this person. And so this person's, how this person is seen out in public is quickly coming into question by many, many people. And it's people that you both know between each other. And that's the hard thing, because it's like this person felt like they were winning. Oh, everybody knows pile number 2, and so I can slander pile number 2 and get empathy from all these people because they see that. They see these things that I'm saying, right? But now the tides are shifting, and that doesn't even make any sense anymore. It's like they're just bashing you, and now people that know both of you, they're like, wow, you're actually really, really cruel about pile number 2. Like, you're bashing them. You're being cruel about them. Yeah, you found your strength. Wow, a lot of positive cards here. There's a lot of twists and turns when it comes to this situation. There's a lot of ups and downs. Well, honestly, I feel like, here's the thing, pile 2, this feels good. Like, this doesn't feel like, it might be a challenge, because it's like, I'm so ready to move on from this. I'm so ready to take the next step. But what Source is saying is, like, right now it's just asking for your patience. Keep integrating what you've learned from this. Keep standing in your strength. Keep standing in your power. Keep trusting your intuition. Keep trusting the journey. And allow the twists and turns to unfold without trying. Look at how both of these cards, even the Strength card, all of them are looking away from the Two of Coins. This, and the Two of Coins in the upright, talks about literally not seeing what's around the bend, right? Not knowing what's next. So instead of focusing on what's next, just focus on what it is that you're doing. That's the only thing you can do. Well, I feel like this is something that you've been experiencing for some time, to teach you to trust. That's what it is, to teach you to have faith, but more than anything, to teach you to trust. And it's interesting because the Strength card in the Tarot Marseille is 11, and 11 is also 2. So you have 2, 2, and 2 coming out in your reading, your pile number 2. That cannot be more of a confirmation here for you. But trust in the process is how I see number 2. Like, number 2 is all about trusting in the process for me. You know, it's a number of duality, and it's the number of allowing yourself to have that unwavering, I can't see what's next type of trust. Number 1 is all about having faith. Number 3 is about your angels being with you. And again, these are just how I associate with the numbers, right? Everybody associates differently with them, but it just feels like this is what has been happening here. Is the challenge has been here so that you can trust that good things are coming, so that you can trust your intuition, so that you can trust that you are strong and that you are powerful and that you're allowed to be strong and powerful. These are all things that are happening here. So this is a mirror of something that you either went through as a child, or coming back full circle. This is that core person that gave you that core wound that you're facing, so that you can stand in that very strong place, and knowing that, like here, right, like you're taming the lion, but here we see the cat is what's pushing you on. It's actually the taming of this lion when you recognize it wasn't that scary to begin with, But it seemed scary when you were young. It seemed scary when you were little. This person is very aggressive. This person is they like try to make themselves be bigger than they are, right? Because if I can take up all this space, then people are going to do what I want because I'm scary and I'm the boss and I'm big and mean and bad. And right now, it's just looking like this person's throwing an adult temper tantrum. Like, that's really how people are starting to see it. People are like, oh, yeah, you can get big and bad and as loud as you want, but that doesn't change the fact that everything that you're saying right now is a big load of pile and steaming dookie, right? Like, it's just steamy. It's just steamy and stinky. Like, it's like, wow. Because they can't deny the fact that you are different. They can't deny that. And everybody that sees you, that you guys know this, like, both of you know the people around you, it's like whatever this person's saying, like, you're always showing up as different. You're always showing up as a more aligned version. You're more in a sense of love and unconditional love. You're more in your intuition. You're trusting your guidance. And you're really grounded in yourself. Okay? You could be a Pisces, a Leo. We have Uranus energy here. We also have highly aspects. So you could have very benevolent Uranus placements. You could have Leo in Uranus. You could have Pisces in Uranus. You could have Aquarius in Uranus. We also have Capricorn. I feel like a Capricorn moon that's coming in as well. And please, if that's not you, that's just for someone else, okay? But I do feel like this is just that essence of standing in your strength. And so for you, it wasn't necessarily about focusing on the challenge that you're going through. This feels like you're literally walking away from it. You have come to this place of balancing it out. And in balancing it out, now you get to just move on from it. Like, there's a sense of freedom here from something that had been an anchor for a long time. Or also, there's a sense of freeing yourself from guilt. Because there's a sense of guilt that was tied to this situation. This person knew how to play on your guilt. I love this. We have the second house coming in. Can we get more twos, Source? Please. We have physical security, possessions, material value, and self-worth. So your self-worth, and I feel like all of these things are coming in for you. Physical security, possessions, material value, and self-worth. I feel like your money is going to be skyrocketing. I feel like your value, your self-worth is going to be skyrocketing. I feel like you're realizing that you are your protection detail. Like, you're your own security detail. Go on with your bad self pile too, okay? Shoot. Get out your, what is it? Get out your little ear, what is it? The little earplugs that they have for their walkies and stuff. Get one in each ear and talk to yourself, okay? Protect yourself. I just got a funny image. I would totally do that. I would totally be that person. I'd have a walkie in both hands. Here we go. Here we go. All right. So this is what they're saying. Like, they're saying you've come so far and you've learned so much about yourself. But more importantly, you've learned that what this person convinced you who you were was an illusion. More importantly, what you may have believed in the past, you no longer believe. Virgo, integrity, reverence, and service. Yeah, and now you get to stand up and be who you are and share that with people. And that's such a powerful place to be at. It's like, especially when someone spends so much time trying to make you feel small or make you seem like you don't matter. And it's hard because with this being the fourth house, we see that this is family, right? Source didn't even have to bring in the family card for us because we knew it was family. We also see that this is something that your ancestors have dealt with time and time again. Like, this is something that is not new in the way of your ancestral line. We have the scarab beetle here with magic works through you. Yeah, now you're starting to manifest good things, right? Good luck is coming into your life right now. Time to collaborate, yeah, and you're finding your soul tribe. You're finding the people who want to see you do good. You're finding the people who want to lift you up, who want to cheer you on, who want to build something with you too. Not tear you down, but actually build something. Like, we're going to take on the world. What are we going to do tonight, Brain? The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try and take over the world. You're going to find your Pinky or your Brain. To be fair, the Brain was kind of mean to Pinky, but Pinky was cool with it. Like, he always kept coming back. And they were kind of in the cage together too, but, you know, They wouldn't have made a good group if it wasn't the two of them. They're animaniacs. Dot is cute and Yakko yaks. Oh my gosh. I don't know why that's coming in right now. Look at that. I cannot make this up. We have gossip coming in on the bottom of the deck. Awakens consideration for the feelings of others and honoring trust. The shadow thrives on the power of passing on private or secret information, betraying confidences. This person has never had your back. Like, that whole blood is thicker than water? Not for them. Not for them. They don't be like that. Nope. It's not happening. And I feel like that's something that was a really hard lesson for you to learn. You know, and maybe it wasn't like a blood relative. This could have been someone that was, like, marriage, you know, like by marriage, or like in your family like that, right? Like someone adopted family or someone like that. It could have just been someone that was like, we were supposed to look out for each other, and I was always looking out for your best interest, but you didn't do that for me. We have storyteller that came out. Ability to experience and express life through stories and symbols. So maybe you're trying to write a book, or you're trying to share your story with others, right? And then we also have, look, making up tales that harm others. So we see this opposites energy, right? The dualistic nature coming up. They're trying to make up stories that harm you. We saw that from the get-go. We saw that in the beginning. And so now I feel like even if you don't have to share your story, like there's no need coming in saying, pile 2, you have to tell everybody your story. That's not what this is. But maybe this is helping you to rewrite your story. And I feel like that's what's going on here. It's realizing, like, I don't have to convince people who aren't willing to ask me if that's true or not. Like, I don't have to convince them. I don't have to go and plead my case with them because they've never come and made it seem like they actually cared about where I was coming from. And some people aren't. They're not going to. They just thrive for gossip and drama. Like, that's, some people are like that. Oh, and we have engineer coming out. Ability to give creative energy as a practical expression. Talent for designing resolutions to common dilemmas. And the shadow is resilience on mechanistic solutions without regard for emotional consequences. They're like a robot. Okay, that makes so much sense. That's what Source just said. They're like a robot. This is someone who says the same story 100 different times. So maybe you were struggling at one point, and that's the only story they talk about is how you were struggling. But you're like years beyond that now, and you're not struggling anymore, and you're about to take care of things for yourself, and you are taking care of things for yourself, but they're only holding on to that one story about how you're struggling because that's the story that got them the most reactions. That's this person, they go back to the same stories that got them the most reactions, and that's what they're holding on to. Wow. What is this energy? What else for pile 2, Source? Whoa, flying in, failure. Okay, so we see the shadow, and that's why I was feeling like it's like you're realizing this person is coming from a hurt place. Like you're realizing it's not personal. This person's just reflecting their own internal shadow. But we see now why. Failure. I understand that a mistake is only an opportunity to learn because they feel like a failure. They feel like they failed in life. They could feel like they failed you, and that's also exacerbating this need to put you down to get you back into this place of control, right? And that it's odd. It's like everybody has their own way of loving others. It doesn't mean it's like love, like unconditional love, but it is love the way that people grew to know love. And that's why it's like you see this person as toxic, right? You see this person as toxic for you, but at the same time, it's like, are they really toxic, or are they just coming from their own wounds and their own hurt? And that doesn't mean that we have to sit around and take it, right? But we're so quick to label everybody. Oh, they're just toxic. They're just that. But it's like, I feel like that's something that you've stepped away from, pile number 2. You're coming into this place where you see them like they feel like a failure. They feel like they have to take it out on me because I'm succeeding and I'm doing something that they never dreamt of even doing. It's like, how, if you never dreamt of doing the thing that I'm doing, how can that make you mad? But it does. It makes some people mad, you know? And I feel like instead of asking why and asking why they don't take accountability anymore, you're seeing the wounded child for what it is. on the bottom. Forgiveness. Yeah, I feel like you're in this place of forgiveness. I acknowledge that harboring resentment blocks the flow of love. I feel like you've forgiven this person. Whether they ask for your forgiveness or not, because I don't really feel like this is going to be a person that comes up and says, I'm sorry. Like, I just don't, they don't give that energy. I feel like you've already forgiven them. You realize that they hurt you, and maybe it was intentional. Maybe they tried to make it personal. But at the end of the day, no matter how they tried to make it seem, it never was. Because they don't have the capacity to see you with eyes of love the way you see them. And that's okay. That's their journey. That's something that they have to contend to, right? That's not for you to carry. And I feel like putting down that might have been a challenge for you at some point. But I feel like what Source is trying to show you is that you're on the other side of this pile too, for sure. Yeah, we have 0, 0, 0. 0, 0, 0, 0. Count that out. We have strength. They spelled it wrong, but that's okay. Obstacles, hardships, strength, building character, experiences. There might be some difficulties ahead, but you will push through. Exactly what I just said. You got this. If you've been struggling or feeling lost, the winds of change will blow in your favor. If you've been suffering or feeling lost, some things may fall apart, but you're building the framework for something much better. Hang in there. Yeah, so I love that confirmation coming in, Source, so clearly showing you that you're on the other side of this. You're definitely making it through this. All right, so I feel like this one, yeah, 11th house, you're about to be, and with the time to collaborate, I feel like you're about to be building something with like-minded individuals. You're about to be surrounding yourself with people who see you. Not what you have to give, not what you built, not even who you are, but who you are in your heart and in your soul. And they're in love with you because of that. Friends, like-minded groups, and humanitarian beliefs. And I also feel like you're going to be helping a lot of people too. There's this feeling of helping others, if that's what you want to do. Overcome any obstacles, yeah. Ganesh too. I know this isn't an elephant, but I'm hearing Ganesh. Maybe you really spend some time with Ganesh, and that's coming in as well, okay? Because Ganesh is the remover of obstacles. But with Rhino Spirit here, overcome any obstacle. It's like you realize this now, and you're realizing that being angry about it hasn't helped you. Maybe you've been really angry about this for a long time, and you realize that it's just been persistent in your life, and that's why you had to move into a state of forgiveness. And moving into the state of forgiveness has helped you to step back and see the situation for what it is. 1414, difference, intelligence, dynamics, making a difference. And I say you're going to help people. I love this. Failures, personal or spiritual development. Happiness is linked to self-expression, growth, and experience. Learning from failure is key. Happiness is real, possible, and around. Understand its process and the pursuit of it. Joy is fluid. It's in the little things and the big ones. Fails are fun. Start fresh. And maybe that's another thing. Like, this person feels like a failure, and every time you fail, you jump back up and you try again. You're like, that's cool. Like, if I fall down 1,000 times, I'm going to stand up 1,001 times, right? And this person's like, oh, I fell down once, and I'm just going to stay down and wallow in my self-pity. But you're not like that. And so that's something else that really exacerbates this feeling of being a failure. You've learned how to find failing as a part of the process. And so if you're not there yet, this is where you're headed. And this is what you've been experiencing right now, is a difficulty with someone in the family, is what this pile feels like. So let's take a look at this card. I'm going to read the challenges from this card out of the book. Wow, we have Venus, Jupiter, really benefic energy here. Look at the golden apple. Wow. 36. All right. Where are you at? Venus, Jupiter. Okay, I do want to read. It says, O days, wind to the heart's divine indulgences. All earth is smiling. Ministration pays. Thine was the source whose plenitude passed over. What prize shall rest to pluck? What secret to discover? Okay, yeah, so and that's by Alan Seeger in regards to Venus, Jupiter. So the challenge is here, because neither of these archetypes has an intrinsic quality of restraint. There's a distinct possibility that you might be experiencing too much of a good thing. While this is certainly a better problem than to have scarcity, it may be wise to show a little composure now and then and learn to pick and choose the pleasures that are most beneficial to you and leave aside those which are more fleeting and those which cost more, whether this is financially, psychologically, or any other kind of cost. Remember, the universe would be dull without any contrast, and we've been talking about contrast this whole time. Okay, so between light and dark, a little bit of salt makes the caramel more satisfying, just as a modicum of misery makes the joy even more rapturous. Okay. It says one serious shadow side of this pair that is quite prevalent in the collective is obsession with beauty, particularly in the arena of celebrity culture. The inflated desire to be seen as beautiful by everybody is another way in which the potential one-sidedness of this pair is often expressed. What was I saying? Did I say that on your reading about... No, I think that was pile 1. That's okay. It says, while there is an intrinsic and undeniable value in beauty, remember that beauty is and will always remain a subjective matter, regardless of the fabricated standards that are so ubiquitously advertised. They split it in half and it's weird. I don't know. It just looks weird to me. Advertised in all kinds of media. No two people define beauty in the same manner. And further, there's no beauty without context. A rose growing in a manicured garden is different from one of a bunch, bought as a hasty gesture of apology from a petrol station by a commuter on the way home from work. Both are beautiful, but the full appreciation of either relies upon your ability to understand the delicate web of symbolic interrelations between the rose as a symbol and the stories of which it's a part of. And that's what we were talking about. It's like you've changed your story in regards to this situation. You're no longer telling yourself the same thing that you were before, and now you're seeing it with eyes of love. So you're understanding it as a whole. Okay? If you're unable to see something or someone as beautiful, or if others are unable to see you in that way, it is simply because the true depth, complexity, and contrast is not yet visible from where you or they are standing. The invitation is Venus-Jupiter supports your desire to beautify your surroundings by decorating or adorning your space with plants, flowers, and art. Be careful not to spend money that you don't really have on indulgent purchases, but to the extent that it is feasible, allow these urges to come to fruition. With such a sociable and friendly feeling in the air, transits between Venus and Jupiter are a great time to host or attend social gatherings. To really make the most of the opportunity, you could consider gatherings expressly intended for shared things that you find beautiful or pleasurable. Read poetry aloud to one another, give gifts, or exchange clothes you no longer wear with your friends. Listen to music together and talk about the way you experienced it. Plan a day out in nature, visit an art gallery. Whatever you do, you'll benefit most if you do it with people with whom you value and love and who feel the same about you. And I just feel like this is, again, such a positive energy. You know, we're talking about there's really no restraints with these two planets, but I feel like this is sources coming in as a reminder that good things are coming. You know, your soul tribe is coming. You're going to be collaborating with people, like-minded individuals. And so continuing to build on that and to do those things that help connect you with those types of individuals is going to help you in the long run. Even if this situation can't change overnight and be what you want it to be tomorrow, it doesn't mean that you can't start making your life the way that you want it to be now. And that's what Source is really saying here. You've learned a very valuable lesson from this. And I feel like one of the biggest things was forgiveness, but also learning your true value of self, that you were not what this person made you believe. And then forgiving that person for going down that road by choosing to see them from their injured heart. And that takes a lot of courage, pile number 2. And just know that I'm so proud of you. Okay, so this is what I see here for you. If you felt like this was your reading, leave the open book emoji down below and say, I'm choosing to rewrite my story and to tell myself of my intrinsic value and worth knowing that I am stepping towards my soul family and the life that is rightfully mine. And if it resonated with you, it means so much to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. And if you are interested in supporting the channel further, please check out the description box. It'll have everything you need. But with that, I would like to take this moment to thank your guides, your spirit messengers, your angel source, and my spirit guides for coming together to give us this very powerful reading. And until next time, pile number 2, stay human. Bye. Hello, my fellow human. If you were drawn to this dice with the 7th house on it, or if you were drawn to this little chakra charm, or if you're drawn to this card during this shuffle, this is going to be a reading on what karmic challenges are you experiencing right now. First, I'd like to say thank you to anyone and everyone that continues to be a supportive part of this journey with me. I'm truly honored to be sharing this time and space with you. And if you are new here, welcome. This is a reminder that we're all here sharing this human experience together, and that this is a safe space to show up as your highest, most aligned, loving, authentic self. And we do things completely differently here on this channel. So with that in mind, if the message happens to resonate with you, it'd mean the world to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. So let's go ahead and hop to it and find out what karmic challenges is pile number 3 experiencing right now. Source, what would you like to share with us today? What karmic challenges is pile number 3 experiencing right now? Second house, we have Pisces energy, and we have the South Node, something you're meant to let go of here. I also feel like this is interesting because this is like something you're meant to let go of in negative self-talk, which we did have with one of the other piles, excuse me, as well as this also feels like something that is an illusion that you're believing about yourself. Like, I can't do that. I can't become what I need to become, or I'm incapable of taking the actions necessary, or I never find time, or that's what this feels like. Like there's always, you could call it an excuse, but it's like there's always a reason. There's always a reason that comes up as to why you cannot. And that is a part of your past. Okay, that is a part of your karmic past, especially with the South Node here. We see this is a part of the karmic past, the baggage that we've carried up until now. And for that to come out in your reading, pile number 3, we do see that this is something you're meant to let go of. Right? But there's a lot of guilt and self-blame here. You have carried the burdens of everybody else's emotions for far too long. Whether this is friends or family or co-workers or just people you run into, it's like you are an empath for sure, pile number 3. I feel like you're a very cute empath. You can pick up the mood of a room just by walking in. Like, you know exactly how everybody's feeling. And oftentimes you might find yourself being drawn to the most emotionally imbalanced person, wondering, why do these people always come into my life? And it's actually a part of your survival method, your survival instincts. It's like you're very much drawn to those people that are the most unstable as a way of maintaining the balance that's already uncomfortable in the room, right? Something that we're very comfortable doing. It's getting out of our comfort zone, and getting out of your comfort zone might be to just walk into a room and allow things to play out before you start interacting with people, right? Or before you go and talk to people. But I do feel like this is sort of showing you like the challenges that you're facing has to do with your gift, your psychic gifts, and your gift of empathy, and learning how to redirect those in a more positive way. Right? And if the minute, and that's the other thing too for you pile 3s, the minute you say that this is just the way things are, that's the minute that you've given up. Okay? And so that's not just the way things are. That's how things are right now, but that's not how things need to be for forever. There's always options. And I feel like Source is just reminding you that you have options, but you have to be brave enough to try to take one of those directions in a different direction than what you've always done. And so this isn't about another person necessarily. This feels like just a lot of repeat situations that continue to arise in your life where, you know, people come and go. They might ghost you. They might lean on you emotionally for a long time and then they bunk out. Excuse me, I need a drink. These could be people that expect you to solve their problems, and then once their problem's solved, they disappear. You don't matter to them anymore. You don't exist. You know, I can say from my own personal experience, Pile 3, I have been there. I have gone through that with so many people, and learning how to redirect that gift in a way that's more positive and profound for myself was a huge challenge. So this is not something that's going to be easily accomplished overnight. It's going to take practice. It's going to take patience. And it's going to take consistent dedication to your self-worth and your self-value. And I feel like that's something that Source is saying, like, you've forgotten your worth. It's like you're basing your worth based on helping these people who don't even care that you're helping them. They might be begging for it. They might be asking for it. But at the end of the day, if you weren't there, they'd be begging and asking someone else for that help. So it's not because it's you. It's because of what you can give them. So how do we switch that up for ourselves and recognize that this is a pattern that we can change? And without, and that's the other thing they're saying, without going to the cold side where you start just shutting everybody off, because that's another thing that can happen on the journey. And I've done that. I'm guilty of that too. So, you know, it's like, but how can we do that in a balanced manner? And how can we do that in a place where it's like, I'm still safe and able to express myself while I'm still setting safe boundaries with people who only want to take from me? And this is a challenge. I feel like this is something you've experienced your whole life. I feel like you can play stories over and over again. Like, this person took from me, that person took from me, oh, those people took from me. And you probably have a lot of situations where that's the case. The Source is saying, like, this is something that you're meant to let go of. This is not something you're meant to hold on to. There's a lot of challenge here, but it's something that you become so comfortably uncomfortable with that to step in the North Node means to literally do something you've never done before. So let's find out what more Source would like to share with us today in regards to this. So Source, what karmic challenges is pile number 3 experiencing right now? Yeah, there's a lot of negativity that's directing your energy. It's directing how you show up. So it's like when people are really negative, it's like, oh my gosh, like, I have to fix this. I have to burden this. I have to make them feel better about themselves. But at the, yeah, okay, this could be someone you've loved in the past. This could be also, you've had a lot of romantic partners that have been this way. And if you didn't catch it, I would just highly recommend catching the collective message that's at the beginning of the reading. It is timestamped down below as well. There might be some additional messages in there for you. It actually went a lot longer than I expected it to, but it's just, I'm getting that there's additional messages for you there if you feel called to watching it. There's no obligation here, okay? But I do feel like this is a broken heart, and that broken heart is persistent. It's like maybe you were with someone who is narcissistic or self-centered, or, you know, someone that might have had some kind of mental disorder or, you know, mental imbalance. And nothing against anybody who has that, right? It's just sometimes those are people that we invite into our lives without realizing the types of traumas that they're going to bring with them, because they're not working on themselves, or they're not going to therapy, or they're not working with modalities that help them maintain a balanced state of emotion. Instead, they're just in a state of projection, and we often become innocent bystanders because of that, right? And so that's what this feels like, though. It does feel like you're trying to block against some sort of negativity, all the while dealing with, oh, like, this isn't happening or that's not happening. Romantic frustration and dealing with people who take advantage of you. So we're getting player energy, but player energy with energy. Not with your physical body, not with people's physical bodies, but player energy on an energetic level. Okay, so with the energy. I'm a player with energy. I'm a player, I'm a player. I'm a player, I'm a player, I'm a player. Oh, I'm a player. So that's what was coming through. So, yeah, but they're playing with energy. That's what they're doing. These are like, they're, yeah, energetic vampires, but it's like not an energetic vampire as much as like, it's like, I'm going to play this person for their energy, then I'm going to go play this person for their energy. And so, yeah, you can look at that as an energetic vampire, but they're never like, it's not just zapping from one person. This is someone who gets contacted from a lot of people, or these are a lot of people who get contacted by a lot of people. And the person that has their attention at that moment, that's the person they're zapping from. Okay, like it's just this constant bouncing around is what it feels like. This is something that has hurt you a lot. Yeah, and they've never had anything to give. This could be someone coming in to say I'm sorry about something as well, but I you know, it's interesting. I feel like it's like maybe you want them more than anything, maybe you want them to say I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the way that I treated you. I'm sorry for making it seem so hard. I'm sorry that you know, we couldn't get along. But I don't know. This person just doesn't seem like they're in that energy right now. They're doing their thing. I do feel like this is having to do with the way you see yourself. Which, when you grow up as an empath, already there's not a lot of empowered empaths. I had the hiccups. Right? You grow up in a situation where you have had to learn to read the situation to survive the emotional onslaught that was going to happen if it became unbalanced. And so you became a mediator. You became the person who quelled everyone's anger. You became the person who put your feelings aside to focus on everyone else so that the situation didn't blow up or get out of control, because that out of control feeling was too much to handle. It was too overwhelming. And there was a sense like, I can control that. I've done that. I've controlled the situation by doing XYZ. Well, when you keep relying on XYZ, then suddenly everybody around you expects that from you. And so that's something that you begin to, I have a purpose. Like I'm wanted or I'm needed to help alleviate and soothe these issues. But all the same time, you're the one that's also getting a lot of trauma because of that. And you're carrying other people's trauma. But who do you go to talk to? No one. No one. No one's there for pile 3. Like pile 3 is there for everyone else. So either the couple things coming in, you can go and find a therapist to talk to if that's within your wheelhouse and you're able to do that. Okay, finding a trusted friend, which I feel like right now that's not necessarily someone that you have in your life, and that's okay. The other thing is to be that person for yourself. You know, sometimes we have to have hard conversations with ourselves. Like, look, I gave too much of myself today. I let this person walk all over me today, and I'm glad that I'm talking to myself about this, because I need to be aware of it so that next time I can set a boundary. Not being mean to yourself, not being like, how dare you, pile 3? How dare you let them walk all over you? No, like that's not, no. Being there for ourselves is just being honest, right? Wow, we totally let Sam walk all over us today. And we said we weren't going to do that, but it happened today. I just want you to know I'm not mad at you. But now that we're aware of it, what kind of boundary are we going to set with Sam next time if we hang out with Sam, or the next time we see Sam? What are we going to say? And then go over it. Well, you know what? We're going to tell Sam that I don't like that. I don't like that. And the next time that it happens, that's going to be the last time that they see me. Okay. So then the next time you see Sam, bringing it up. You know what? Hey, Sam, the last time that we were with each other, you stepped on my toes or you stepped on my boundary about XYZ. And I want to let you know right now, I don't appreciate that. I really don't like that. So I'm telling you, don't do that again. Because if that happens again, then we're not going to be hanging out like this anymore. Okay, you've given Sam, and you can't control what Sam does. Sam is going to make Sam's decision, and that's okay. You have to make pile 3 decision. That's what you have to do. So I feel like for sourcing, like it's time for you to give yourself that chat, that support that you've always needed. But this is a challenge. This is something that has been repeatedly happening here. And I feel like this could be someone in your life that has cheated on you, and you may have forgiven them, but they've continued to cheat on you. Look, I wish I could tell you that people change like that when they're cheaters. They say that once a cheater, always a cheater. Sometimes we have to believe those those sayings. Like sometimes we have to just be like, okay, you know, that's a case. Because someone is really good at speaking words and really, really smooth words. Like, oh, I've changed. I'm different. I'm not the same person I was. Actions will always speak louder than words. Don't be bamboozled or smooth talked by someone who can say magical words. And I feel like that's something else that has been weighing on you as well as taking on these burdens from everyone else, is because it's like giving in to people saying these lies to you and then feeling like, oh, I'm the bad person because they lied to me. No, it's just that you have never been taught by people in your life, adults in the situation. You were never taught how to stand up for yourself in a way that was going to create an already solid boundary, right? Like you were never taught that because you were carrying everybody's burdens. So everybody relied on you as a child when you didn't have social skills to carry that. I mean, you're not a therapist, and you're not designed to be a therapist. You're designed for an empath. Yeah, sure, but that doesn't automatically make you a therapist. You could be a therapist now. You could be in the psychological field as well now, but I do feel like for many of you, it's just that, like, I don't have someone to rely on. I feel very lonely. I feel very alone. And this is the challenge that you're going through. And sometimes to trust somebody, we have to actually put ourselves out there. And that can be scary too, because well, everybody else, when I put myself out there, they've just taken advantage of me. Right now, there's like no long-term goals. Like, what do you want to do next? Yeah. Okay. This is a broken heart. Something fell apart. Something didn't work out. Something wasn't capable of being built here. And it was something that was, you know, I do feel like you were emotionally involved in it for sure. Now, this could be someone that you wanted to come through and give you a relationship as well, and that just never came through, and that really took a toll on your self-worth. This could be family, like you wanted family to see your value, see you and love you, and they never have, and they may not, you know, like I can't say people never will, but I do feel like this is just reminding you that we can't expect people to change. We have to allow them space to change, but we can't expect them to change. And so they'll get to choose whether or not they do. There's a lot of disappointment here, right? Like you wanted something to work out. You wanted it to work out. This could be a labeled relationship. I keep hearing that, a labeled relationship. You wanted it to work out. Yeah, and you're not seeing how powerful you are. Look, I picked this up, and there's another card here. But you're healing from this. You're moving on from this. But it did take a long time. This forced you into a position of falling from grace. Having these massive ups and downs. And not seeing the picture clearly. Because you were seeing it from how you see yourself. Not seeing this person, how this person was. So this could be people that you had on a pedestal. Like if it's family, it's people you had on a pedestal. What this was to teach you was that you're deserving. Look, yeah, so we're talking about relationship for sure, with union merging and a coming together. This is teaching you how to be that person for yourself. Right? How to look beyond another person and the pedestal that maybe you've put them up on. And it's okay. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't make you weird that you've done this, right? It doesn't make you singled out that you've done this. No, there's a lot of people who do this. This is very human of us to put other people on a pedestal. But we see such wonderful traits within them, and what we're not seeing is those traits within ourselves. But they are traits that exist within ourselves. We have Aquarius and Mercury that flipped over. And on the bottom, yeah, we have the 11th house. I believe this came out in all three piles. So talking about people who are on the same journey as you. Friends, like-minded groups, and humanitarian beliefs. People who see your value. But if you don't see your value, you can't ask another person to see your value, right? We cannot ask someone to do for us what we cannot do for ourselves. So we have Aquarius. It's time to stand up and be original here. Be that trendsetter. Fly your freak flag, baby. For real, right? Philanthropy and progressive imaginings. And get out there. Put yourself out there now. Think, learn, network, communicate. So if this was somebody you thought was going to come rushing in after so long and sweep you off your feet and be a knight in shining armor, and they still haven't done that, that's not your fault. Okay? First of all, just remembering that no one's coming in to save us, right? I wish that there was someone that was out there to save us, but there's just not. When we let go of that and we surrender that idea, then we can open up to how do we save ourselves? I feel like that's what Source is saying here. It's like letting go of this idea that there's going to be this knight in shining armor, this princess in shining armor, or this person in shining armor that's going to swoop in and save you from all your troubles. That's just not. It's not. We're that person. That's us. That's us. We got to do that for ourselves. We got to be our own damn heroes. That's the only way it works. No one's going to save us. We have to save ourselves. And that's scary. Because shows and movies and people have convinced us that someone out there somewhere is supposed to help us. Trust in the magic. 66. Seeing yourself through eyes of love. Seeing yourself through eyes of unconditional love. Finding a balance, resolution to the situation. Knowing that when you save yourself, magical things will start to happen. It doesn't mean that just because it's not this person that you're not meant to have the love of your life. That's not what that means. It just means that this person's not aligned with you, and can you be okay with that? Do we really have to force this person into being the one that's for me? Because that's saying to Source, like, oh no, I know way better than you do about who I am. When Source knows us inside and out even better than we know ourselves. Right? That's what this feels like. And so it's just trusting in the magic that Source has something that is aligned with you and what you want. But letting go of this person right now, because every month that goes by that this person doesn't come in, every time this person leaves you on red, every time this person brings you in, gets your energy, and then leaves you hanging, leaves you feeling a little worse for wear. And that all adds up. And so Source is saying, bring yourself back to a place of honoring your self-worth, trusting in your own internal magic, your own intrinsic value, and knowing that I have something planned for you, and you alone. And it's going to be far more than you could have ever imagined. But you have to trust that you're worthy of it. Life is speeding up. Yeah. So this is something that will come faster than you expect it to. But not putting a time frame on it. Don't, right? When I tell a lot of my viewers, don't hang on to time frames. And people, readers, especially when readers are like, oh, this is going to happen by this time, or this is going to happen. Don't hold on to that. Don't hold on to that. Let that go. That's not for you. That's what I tell people. That's not for you. That's not what if I am watching a read and I hear a time frame, I'm like, that's not for me. That's not for me. Why? Because we start to hold on to that, and then when it doesn't happen, then we feel like we did something wrong. And that's not what this journey is about. This journey is about trusting that we're doing everything that we can to become our highest version, our most aligned selves, and knowing that we're gonna make mistakes along the way, but that doesn't mean that we did something wrong. It's just a mistake. We learn from it. What is it? What is when Rafiki hits Simba in the head? Ow! What was that for? It doesn't matter. It's in the past. You can either learn from it, run from it, or learn from it. Right? Like, that's what he says. So there's that energy. It's like you can either learn from it or you can run from it. What do you want to do? Learning from it is a lot easier in the long run. Even though running from it seems easier in the moment. Yeah, looking in deeper. Great powers of observation and intuition, desire to seek out the truth. The shadow is voyeurism and falsifying information. So you've definitely done your research. You've definitely looked into this. You've definitely asked the questions. But maybe to get the right question or the right answer, you have to ask the right question. So you're asking the questions, but maybe it's not the questions you're asking that are giving you the answers you need to move forward. They're keeping you in a cycle of self-doubt, a cycle of lack of self-belief. going to do one more. Okay. I thought there was one more long one in there, but they're all different. They come back and forth. Like every half an hour there's a train that goes by one way or the other. So this one's going this way right now, so it means the next one is going to come this way. It has to be a two-way road. Why are you asking for someone that's not willing to give you a two-way road? Worry. I'm learning that worry doesn't change an outcome. They're either for you or they're against you. Right? And I don't mean that they're against you in the way of like trying to fight against you or anything like that. It's just that. I'm either going to be with you or I'm not. And if they've shown time and time again that they're not with you, believe that. Believe that. Don't keep holding on to that. Right? And it's easy for us to hold on to that because, especially with labeled relationships, and I just want to talk about this for just a second, especially within labeled relationships. Everybody's like, they're going to come around. They're going to come around. But every time we think we're in a good space and we reach out with them either energetically or physically, and we get left hanging and we get left hurt, and it's like, oh, but everybody in the spiritual community says they're gonna come around. They're gonna come around. You know what? Maybe instead of sitting around and saying they're gonna come around, just say, look, they've shown me that I'm not their first priority, and I deserve somebody that shows me that I'm their first priority, because I'm gonna make that person my first priority. And I hear a lot of people say, well, I can't love another person. Love is infinite. There's always a way to create more love. Look, I'm just going to talk to parents for a second right now, because parents are going to be able to verify this. You have a kid, right? You have one kid. And how many of you are like, I didn't know I could love another being as much as I love my kid? Then you had a second kid and you're like, I didn't know that I could love this child as much as I love my first child. Like, I didn't know that. Why? It's because love is infinite. The well is infinite. So when we say we'll never love another person the way that we love them, there's twofold here. That's true. You'll never love another person the way you love them, but that's because the love you have for every person you love is different. So instead of putting that box around yourself saying, oh, this is it for me, open up to the fact that love is infinite. Let me tap into that infinite well. Trust in that. That's what Source is saying here. This is a challenge for you. But the reason it's a karmic challenge is because maybe in your past, in your childhood, you said, this is it for me. I'm never going to love somebody this way. Could be a parent, a sibling, a friend, right? Or it could be in a past life. Wow, you're getting 3 of these. Okay. They want that one first. It could be in a past life. You said that about this same person in the past life. And that's why it's a karmic challenge for you, because this is saying, I need to let this go for now. I have to let it go. So you can get on with your life, right? Why are you going to keep loving ghosts? I'm not talking about ghosts in the spirit realm. I'm talking about ghosts in the physical realm. When they ghost you, like, why are you going to keep loving a ghost? Love them from a distance. Like, look, I'm going to send you love and I want you to find happiness. But also, I want to find happiness. And if that means that you're not going to be in my life, then I'm going to go find happiness for me and find out what that means for me. But sometimes that's so hard because we're so stubborn about it. We're like, nope, it has to be this person. It has to be this person. It has to be this relationship. But we see the succession of things here in the reading. Okay? And you're not alone, Pile 3. You're not alone. Like, look, even I'm guilty of this too. It has to be a certain person. Finally, I let go. I surrender. And in that surrender, I found it. There was so much more peace in the surrender. And there was so much more love that I could send to him in saying, I want you to be happy. Even if it means it's not with me. I would so much rather see you experience a happy life if it's not with me. Because the thing that would break my heart the most is knowing that he's miserable. And some of you are like, they are miserable. They're miserable. But you know what? I don't really necessarily know that. Intuitively, maybe. But I don't actually know that. And to tap into that intuitively, am I really tapping into it intuitively, or am I trusting my emotional ego? And those are the things that I have to ask myself. And when we ask ourselves these hard questions, we can start to surrender even a little more. Look, I'm not going to sit here and lie. I felt that same way. I'm never going to love another person the way I love him. But I also felt that way about all the people that I loved before in my life. And do I think that this love is different? Sure. But it's safe to say that all the loves that I've had in my life were different. None of them might have been as deep as the love that I have for this person. But that's okay. And that doesn't scare me to say that if it's not him, that I'm going to find someone else. It doesn't scare me anymore to say that. And it doesn't mean that I believe any less in the journey. And it doesn't mean that I believe any less in what our purpose is here to do. What it means is that I'm open to the possibility of what Source has for me that's in alignment with my journey. Whatever that means. But sometimes it's so hard for us to let go. And sometimes it's so hard for us to see ourselves as someone else without them. This could be a broken heart from the past. Even seeing yourself like maybe you had a divorce or something like that. And it's like, who am I without this person? That's what you get to find out. But holding on to this and thinking that like it has to be this, they're the only ones for me. That's not really fair to yourself. And it's not fair to this person energetically either, because you're keeping yourselves in an energetic contract that's binding. And maybe some of you want to do that, and that's okay too. Maybe you're just not ready. But I feel like if you're here listening to the Source is saying, you're ready. 888. Forward movement. Invocation, focus, creation, progress, forward movement, although the move went, skills and goals, an opportunity, help, extra cash, or other support is coming your way. So keep going and have fun when performing your tasks. The most tremendous success comes from passion. All efforts will be rewarded big time. So Source is saying, I'm not letting you be hanging from this. I'm not going to leave you hanging, okay? 8888. That's about healing and releasing your karma, right? Karmic situations, karmic connections, toxic karmic patterns, okay? This is more about a pattern that keeps coming up as a challenge. And that's okay. Just giving yourself patience and time. So we have, look, Buffalo. The abundant universe will provide. Complete the cycle. Source will provide you with what you ask for, even if it doesn't come in the package you expect it to come in. It doesn't mean the blessing's not there. Heroine and hero. Passion for a journey of personal empowerment. And the shadow is escapism or false sense of heroism. Didn't I say that earlier? It's like you're always saving people from themselves. Like, oh, I can do that. I can save them from themselves. I can carry this. But now it's about empowering yourself and letting go of this. Well, if I heal myself, then they'll come to me. When we believed that, when we gripped onto that identity, if I heal myself, all that did was continue to put us into a box. Two things. It's kind of selfish to think like, oh, I have all the power in the world. If I heal myself, then I can heal this person who we don't even know if they're even doing anything with their journey. Likelihood, right? We don't know. We don't know. We're saying, oh, if I heal, then I'm healing everything about this person. That's completely absurd for us to think that. And then thinking, oh, well, energetically, Source promised me that if I heal myself, then this person is going to just snap right into place and come to me. Also selfish. It's selfish. It's all selfish. So we're only healing for selfish reasons. We're not healing because we're trying to empower ourselves. We're healing because we want something, which is no different from how other people have treated us. They've only shown up because they want something, not because they see us and not because it's valuable to be in our company. So that's the question you ask yourself. Am I healing because I want something from this, or am I healing because I really want to empower myself? Service. I feel good when I can help others. Yeah, you're meant to help others. You're meant to heal the world in whatever beautiful, unique way you're going to do that. We have 0330, sudden challenges, divine intervention, sudden challenges, pleasant surprise, and a gut feeling. Ay, ay, ay. This number serves as a gentle nudge to pursue whatever interests you most, creatively. It's possible that something could rock your boat, but you'll end up exactly where you belong, which could be in somebody's arms, your dream job, or abroad, etc. And I love that that came out, right, in somebody's arms. But can you let go of the package? It might not come in that package. 1331. Wow, look at this. Change, encouragement, support, obstacle, battle, calling, restructuring, and creative work. You are going to level up. It might not feel good initially, but it will prepare you to handle the greater things in life for your highest good. That is the why you've been looking for. Push through it. There's a reward waiting at the finish line. So you're going to be rewarded. And then we have 999. So we had 0330, 1331. We had 8888 and 9999. Prosperity, optimism, liberation, success. Prosperity, excitement, enthusiasm. The problems you have today will eventually disappear. Your guardian angels encourage you to maintain a positive outlook on life since your luck may be about to change. It's time to put to use your captivating energy and inspirational personality. Don't let your ego get the best of you. And I feel like that's also just reminding you, asking ourselves, is this the emotional ego that's making me pursue this, or is this truly my spirit? Because spirit will give space for love. The emotional ego is that I have to have this. It's binding, okay? So let's take a look at this card. I'm going to read this from the book. We're going to read the challenges on this. Saturn. Wow. Wow. So this is tough love. This is tough love from the universe. This situation it's like Source trying to help you find more love in your heart for yourself and for your journey, and not pour every little bit that you pour into your cup into this person or this labeled connection. It's easier said than done. Neptune. Okay, Saturn. All right, the challenges. Wow, just look at this. A lot of black and white. I'm seeing it all in black and white, but it's not in black and white. We have to open up to the Technicolor. It says during Saturninian times in life, you become aware of the work that needs to be done in one area or another. Often this awareness is difficult to receive as it comes along with a feeling of restriction that makes it difficult to take action in any way that seems worth celebrating. Wow, Saturn knows that motivating human beings to do serious work is not easily done. Its approach is to win by attrition, delivering our lessons again and again until it can be sure that we have really understood. The key to navigating such experiences is to realize that they arise in service, and we got service here, in service to your development. The things that your inner Saturn demands are things that you yourself want, and the sooner your resistance to your own desires is broken, the better. You likely have an inner critic of some kind who can weaken self-esteem and problematize many of your other parts in ways that feel hurtful or unhelpful. In order to stimulate the sales of products, consumerism surrounds us all with messages that tells us we aren't enough and that we don't deserve to be happy. You may also have learned to internalize criticism in order to avoid encountering it externally. You move your inner dialogue beyond this limiting dynamic. You may have to disentangle the internalized cultural oppression and dubious childhood defense mechanisms so that it becomes easier to nurture your healthy urges to develop responsible and realistic qualities, capacities for discernment, objectivity, determination, work ethic, and staying power. Once you recognize your own desires to grow, nothing can stop you, not even yourself. The rigid conservatism of Saturn can be oppressive, underpining, and it does concretistic, hierarchical, and patriarchal structures. Wow. can talk. It says, stern and inflexible cultural attitudes, uncompromising and impersonal bureaucratic systems, and the dehumanizing prioritization of work above all else. Developing your capacity to respond to and overcome these socio-cultural biases may largely be a task that you need to call on other archetypes for. But one part of the work is to develop your own resilience and self-reliance so that you are able to opt out of the oppressive systems of control and when opportunities arise. And that's another thing, right? It's a very oppressive system already. This saying like, well, once you heal yourself, everything's going to work out for you in regards to this labeled relationship. That's already in a very oppressive belief system because it's saying like, well, I'm already not enough, right? And that's not true. We're already enough as we are right now. Another person is never going to be a product of our value. But for some reason, that's not what we believe in the spiritual community, which we have to look at and we have to face and ask these difficult questions. Most deeply of all, Saturn represents the painful disconnection from absolute consciousness that is experienced one way or another by all incarnate beings. Arriving into a body and learning that we are apparently separated, and not only from the divine, but also from all other beings, can be a rather taxing affair. Experiencing the loss of immediate awareness of the interconnected and complete perfection of all things and becoming instead conscious of your own limited agency, confinement in linear time, physical fragility, and constraint by material necessity can feel like a dubious bargain. I can't believe I would have ever agreed to this, you may well think to yourself. Even so, what is illuminated by this experience is the way in which all suffering can be approached as a dignified and deliberate spiritual practice that brings you squarely back into direct contact, albeit if an uncomfortable variety, within the deeper mysteries of existence. The invitations here may be inappropriate, or it may be more appropriate for this particular section to be called requirements, as many of the ways in which we are invited to work with Saturn archetype do not appear to be all that optional. In all areas of life, Saturn invites you to balance your desire for freedom with the responsibility for your own reactions to life, to complicate your idealism with rigorous skepticism and meaningful critique, and to remember your relationship to the divine by unflinchingly facing your grief. With any Saturninian work, the key is to honestly appraise your resources and current capacities and be realistic about how much you can accomplish in any given moment. When you feel stuck, limited, or bound by duty, reflect on the possibility that at least some of your limitations can be worked with creatively, rather than struggled against. You may experience some resistance to the exercise of appraising your situation, and that is okay. You don't need to pile on any extra weight by setting up any more feedback loops of self-criticism. Be kind to yourself as you notice places of resistance. Simply take stock of them and continue. And if you are grieving, try to ensure that you have time and space to do it well. Grief is a sacred act, which does not require a solution. You might need to let people around you know that you cannot be responsible for their feelings at this time because you are occupied being responsible to your own. Wow, what a beautiful closure to this reading. Like, seriously summed up so much of what was going on here. Okay, you're doing a good job, Pile 3. I know this was a very difficult message, but if you made it to the end, just know that I'm proud of you. I see you, and you are so needed in this world, and you're not alone. Okay, so if you felt like this was your reading, leave the little Saturn emoji down below and say, I trust in the process of the difficult times, knowing that they are lessons unfolding to me, the great wisdom that I already possess deep within my heart. I am not alone. And if it resonated, it would mean so much to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. And with that, if you're interested in supporting the channel further, check out the description box. It'll have everything you need. I would like to take this moment to thank your guides, your spirit messengers, your angel source, and my spirit guides for showing up to give us this very, very powerful message. And until next time, Pile number 3, here's a big, big, big energetic hug. Oh, I love you so much. Okay? You got this. Stay human. Bye.